I've been thinking today and actually for a little while now about how we set boundaries and how we set our own rules for our lives so that they are happier, easier, more structured, so we can get stuff done. And this reminded me of the lines on the courts down at our local recreation centre. There's lots of them. You've got to know what game you're going to play. So, and the game of life is probably the biggest game we play. So we've got to know what field we're on. So I just thought I would have a little look at a few fields of play, a few courts. So this one you're looking at is a basketball court. It's got the key, it's got the goalpost at the end. The aim of the game is to get the goal of your end and stop your opponents from getting at the other end. So there's the court there. But then when we look at a netball court, it actually looks very similar, except it doesn't have the key in the middle, and we've got two lines, so it's in thirds rather than halves. So, but the actual game is very similar in that you want to get the goal into your goal at your end and stop your opponents from getting at the other. There's lots of different rules. The whole ball bouncing thing, the whole who's allowed to shoot. Like there's lots of different rules, but the court themselves are quite similar. And then that got me thinking to, well, actually, on those courts down there, we also have volleyball, which actually is the thirds again. So we're back to the netball court that it looks like thirds, but you've just got to get the ball over the net instead of into a goal. So similar sized court in thirds, same sort of court, totally different game. And then I thought, this is me thinking too much. Well, and then you've got beach volleyball, which is actually a very similar game, but totally different. There's no lines in the middle of the court where you're not allowed to go. There's only the outside lines. So I'm going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Then I was thinking about, well, what's another game that's on those courts down at my recreation centre? And one of them is badminton. There's badminton courts. So again, badminton courts are actually in thirds, like volleyball and like netball, but they have things down the side. They have the high net like volleyball do. They've got quite a high net that you need to get the little shuttlecock over. But again, it's like, oh, wow, that's a totally different game, but the idea is getting it over the thing and not dropping it on the ground. So here we go, there's similar rules but different games, totally different games. And then if you look at that versus tennis, now that looks very similar to a badminton court, except it's a lower net. So what we've got to be careful of is, are we playing the game we want to, or are we playing the game that someone else has set up for us? Have we arrived at a badminton game all set for tennis? Have we turned up to a beach volleyball game that's actually inside no sand? Or even worse, are we still sitting on the sidelines waiting for someone to tell us what game we want to play? So, food for thought for you. Have a good one.